Growing up in the Midwest, tornadoes have both. Welcome back to another iceberg video. Today we're talking about the tornado iceberg, which is something near and dear to me because I live in an area that has some horrific tornadoes. I also just want to say that I'm not a meteorologist. I don't necessarily, know a whole lot about weather systems and that sort of thing, but I do really like tornadoes. So this is an iceberg chart with a lot of well-known stuff such as the tri-state tornado, dead man walking, tornado intercept vehicles, and then further down in this list we will be talking about some more obscure topics such as the Joplin butterfly people, the
Yeah, you would have to have that done, wouldn't
Why?
you?
You only need to listen.
I can't see it.
Yes, you only need to listen. Yes.
I just want to see it.
Well, I don't know how you're supposed to set
It's
up.
quite a little chore because
atomic tornado outbreak and the fire tornado that took 40,000 lives. But without further ado, if you like tornadoes too, sit back, relax, and we will go ahead and get to the video. Starting at the top of this list, we have Tier 1, 70% of the world's tornadoes happen in the USA. So the United States is the only place on Earth with the geography, climate, and atmospheric dynamics that all align to create these massive storm cells that can produce tornadoes. This occurs because of the warm, moist Gulf air moving in one direction, meeting the cold, dry air from the Rockies moving in another direction, and it creates a rotation and the perfect conditions to make these storms. Dust Devil selfie. This is just a video of a guy in Australia who drives up to this dust devil and then takes this video of himself in front of it and looks like he's like outrageously close to a massive dust devil that could potentially be dangerous. But it turns out this video is actually CGI, and it was made by this company, the Woolshed Company, that has actually produced a few viral videos, like 8 super viral videos, such as one where a bear is chasing a snowboarder, and these are all like fake videos that they made specifically to go viral. Next we have tornado watch versus warning. So a lot of people get these two mixed up, what a watch or a warning is dealing with tornadoes. Here is an easy way to remember it. A watch just means people are watching out for a tornado. A warning means that they are warning you about a tornado that they have seen. And so whenever, especially whenever there's a warning, you should immediately get to shelter. But there's also a rare situation where they will have a tornado emergency, and that is where there is a catastrophic tornado that is doing immense damage that has been confirmed. But at that point, you should already be in your basement because there should have been like a warning before that. Water spouts. Basically, they're tornadoes over water. They are so crazy looking. If you've ever seen a video, sometimes they can form like multiple at the same time, and they just look like unworldly. They're just pretty trippy looking. Usually they appear pretty thin and like almost like ethereal looking. I saw this video of this guy who he sailed his boat through one, which you should not do, but it was a small one. And there was this famous situation back in 1894 where down in Australia they were claiming there was a very large one that formed a complete loop and looped back into itself, which is really crazy. Next we have the tri-state tornado. So this is the single deadliest tornado in US history with 695 deaths. So this happened in March of 1925. It holds the record for being the single longest path length in history at 219 miles traveled by this tornado. It was on the ground for 3.5 hours, which is such a long time. And this tornado moved at highway speeds. It averaged like 60 miles per hour. It peaked at 73 miles per hour. So this thing would have been extremely hard to outrun. Because it moved so fast, this contributed to how high the death toll was. But the main reason why so many people did die from this tornado is because people had almost no time to react. What's interesting is the word tornado was actually banned in US weather forecasts at this time because officials feared that it would cause a public panic. And obviously this did not work. This was like worst case scenario. You definitely should be warning people and not just saying, oh, it's not a risk. Obviously it was a risk. And so residents received no warning at all, even though the developing storm was catastrophic. Tier 2, tornado sirens' original purpose. So I found this one really interesting. Originally, most tornado sirens that we still use today were installed right after World War II, and their original purpose primarily was to warn Americans to get to shelter in case of a Soviet nuclear attack. Isn't that crazy? It was the Cold War going on, everybody was worried about getting hit with a nuclear bomb, so they mainly used these from the 1950s to the 1980s as a way to warn about nukes incoming. Obviously, we don't use them like that today. They're mainly used for natural disasters like tornadoes, but they also warn for other things such as dangerous weather like tsunamis, flash floods, even wildfires. And it's just interesting that, like, I feel like that kind of like it helps you understand why their sound is kind of eerie. Next up, we have Joplin. Joplin was the single most catastrophic tornado in modern times, but it was the most costly in damage any tornado has ever done. It did $2.8 billion in damage. On May 22nd, 2011, an EF5 tornado struck Joplin, Missouri, carving a mile-wide path directly through the center of the city. So obviously this is why this tornado was so bad. It's because it directly carved a path through the smack center of the city while also being 1 mile wide, which is a massive tornado. This resulted in 158 deaths and injured over 1,150 people. Everything about Joplin was just like the most horribly correct circumstances had to line up for this tornado to be the way it was. It was a Sunday, it was like 5 p.m., it was sunny outside, everybody was celebrating their graduation, they had just had a big high school graduation, the sun was shining, and whenever this storm moved in, it is crazy. If you watch the videos of what it looked like, it got pitch black. It was so dark outside. This tornado intensified from being a weak EF0 to blowing up into this violent EF5 tornado in just minutes. It became a massive wedge nearly 1 mile wide as it entered Joplin, which is unusual for the escalation of even like a supercell tornado. I heard it explained that the amount of debris and rubble cleared out of Joplin after the tornado event was equivalent to about 2.5 to 3 times that of the Twin Towers collapsing on 9/11. But it was a very, very tragic and sad event. If you look at the footage like right after the tornado passed through, it is so outrageous, the amount of destruction. It looks like no man's land in World War I, but we will be talking more about Joplin later on. Tornado intercept vehicles. So storm chasers will take normal vehicles and trick them out into like these tanks or portable bunkers that they use to study tornadoes more closely. They try to make them to where they can be parked directly in front of a tornado and like withstand the winds. Specifically, they try to make like the skirt low to the ground so it doesn't get the wind underneath it and flip it over and, you know, take it up into the sky. But they try to collect high detailed scientific data about tornadoes, such as temperature, humidity, pressure, wind speed, and they also get high definition videos of the vortexes. These things are really cool. This one guy made his vehicle into this absolute tank. He named it the Dominator 3. He's got this armored steel plating on it, bulletproof glass. It's supposed to be able to withstand hail up to 150 miles an hour. I also saw he did this cool thing where they had such a hard time getting probes into the tornado that he figured out if you shot these little rockets into there, you could penetrate through like this wall of ascending air and actually get in there to get the data that's more sought after. And he's had these rockets get into the tornado and get carried up to heights of like 30,000 feet and get carried over 26 miles away from where he shot it off, which is so crazy and cool. dead man walking. So the dead man walking, as you can see in this picture, is a tornado that looks like a man with two legs kind of walking. And it even looks like there's almost like a scythe in this tornado, which makes it kind of look like the Grim Reaper or something similar. This is a rare phenomenon where multiple vortexes form simultaneously. The most famous picture of one of these, which is this picture right here, is from the 1997 Gerald tornado, which was an EF5, or it was an F5 tornado. And this picture is just insanely eerie looking. It looks like a humanoid silhouette that just looks like impending death. This picture actually came from a TLC documentary that claimed that there was this Native American legend about if you see the dead man walking, then that's it, you're dead. You're a dead man walking, just like the tornado. Which even in this case, it does kind of seem like realistic that if you did see one of these like multiple vortex tornadoes, it is a huge threat, because there is a lot of different of the really big tornadoes that it appears as these multiple vortexes, and then they instantly blow up into these massive F5 tornadoes that are extremely deadly. Even like what I just talked about, the Joplin tornado, right before it became a monster EF5, there is a picture of it having multiple vortexes, so it may have been a dead man walking as well. And also like the famous
And normally it would do this a little bit and go back in, but it carried with the wind because the tornado was still closing off. So it went like this.
Okay, what's the name of tornado and how do you spell it?
Tornado EF5.
No, what's the name of it?
Tornado EF5.
No, what's the name of the tornado?
Tornado EF5.
What's the name of it?
Tornado EF5. That's the name.
No, I know it's probably an EF5, but what's the name?
Tornado EF5. That's literally the name.
No, what's the name?
Tornado EF5. It's in the name.
See? It just shows the list. What's the actual name of it? Not like it's here or anything. What's the actual name of the tornado? What?
Why don't you click on it on your tablet and show him what it says? It must go by
No,
a
I
different
typed it.
name because I can find it.
I typed it. What's how do you spell
She
it?
said,
No,
give
what?
it to me.
No, how do you spell it? Just tell me.
E2. 1-5. Space. EF. 5. Not a lot of websites have it.
The violent EF5 tornado, the first in U.S. in 12 years, struck near Earthland and
That's the one that exploded. Most websites, like Google, don't say that it exploded though. Because it was violent. It killed over a whole town. Killed 2 whole towns. What are you looking up? Ashton, what are you looking up?
I'm saying if it exploded.
I said most websites say that it didn't explode. Did you hear me?
The tornado itself did not explode.
I said some websites don't say it exploded.
This is Google. It would say if it actually exploded or not. No, it did not explode. If Google says it didn't explode, that means it didn't explode.
Well, then it must be a different tornado. Because one tornado did explode. It also exploded on impact. Oh wait, no, I'm thinking about the one that we
You mean light? It might be lightning explosion. I mean, it might be lightning exploding, or it gets shredded into small pieces and scattered. This could look like an explosion from a distance. Pressure charges. There's an old myth that houses explode during tornadoes because of the drop in air pressure. In reality, the damage is caused by extreme debris impact. The sound of a violent tornado is often compared to a freight train or continuous explosion because of the constant crashing of heavy debris, like the 72,000-pound train car that was thrown 500 feet, hitting the ground or other structures. So it probably sounded like lightning explosion.
Oh yeah.
That's probably what it was. But it did also say it could have looked like an explosion from the distance, so it probably looked like an explosion from the distance.
Also, Don, know something?
What?
This is not fake. There's a tornado that has been going on for 50 years. It's gone across India. We don't know the name because it hasn't stopped. And normally scientists will look into it and see what it has and use numbers to decode it. And some of the numbers they'll put in the name. So we don't know what the name is for sure. Also, it might not be on Google because we're still researching.
Do I? It says no.
No, I said,
Where'd you hear it on? Where'd you hear it on?
well,
What's the question?
It does not matter. It's Grayson saying there's a tornado that has been active for 50 years in India, and I'm asking what he found it on.
not in India, but I said it went across India.
There's no tornado that has lasted 50 years. Tornadoes come down from the sky, go a few miles, maybe even 10, maybe even 15, and then they go back up into the sky. There's no tornado that's been going for 50 years. Tornadoes have been happening for more than 50 years, but not one tornado's been going for 50 years. That's impossible.
It's not impossible. There was the
There's
most powerful.
no tornado has lasted 50 years.
No, there's one tornado that has gone through June to May. Remember?
No.
No.
You never told me it.
No, it wasn't. It was the tornado that was the most powerful. Remember? It said June to May.
No, it didn't.
It did not go from June to May.
Then what did it say to May?
It did not say to me.
It said,
That's the tornado season from June to May.
oh.
That's when tornadoes happen. Not here. We've had a couple of tornadoes here, but they've been super small.
And bro, even if
There were dust tornadoes.
Huh?
There were dust tornadoes.
No, they were actual tornadoes. They ripped the roof off of a building. Right
and
over there.
where'd you hear the 50-year long tornado on? What'd you hear it on?
Well,
That does not matter. What'd you hear it on?
so I was looking on.
No, what'd you hear it on?
I was looking on YouTube.
Okay, YouTube usually lies about that stuff. No,
You don't
usually.
know for sure.
Yes, I do. YouTube usually. People usually lie about that stuff. It's called clickbait. It's where people click on it and then people think it's true even though it's really not true, and then they get a bunch of views for clickbaiting people, which it's fake. There's no.
I was still talking, by the way, if you didn't notice, by the way.
Yes, I did notice. Well, because there. What was the longest tornado ever? It was the Tree State tornado that lasted 3.5 to 4 hours.
Well, there's no way it only lasted that long. What?
Yes, tornadoes usually only last for like 30 minutes to an hour.
can last a little bit longer.
Yes, it can. Yes, it can.
But mostly they stay in the sky and they don't touch down.
Yes, they usually. It's called a supercell.
It's one that is still building, and sometimes it will even take little like sheds and put it into it so it can make more fuel and beat off of it and go down farther.
Well, the longest tornado that ever survived was 4 hours. Was 3.5 to 4 hours long. So there's no tornado that has ever even lasted 7 hours.
Well, I'll make one right now.
You can't make one. It's impossible. You'd have to have winds. You would have to make temperature. You'd have to make the temperature fields merge into each other. So the tornado that you said that somebody said that lasts for 50 years is clickbait.
No, it was on. Well, it was really not like here. It was actually like in Greek, so we don't really know. It might be fake, but like
It's probably fake.
it said in the 80s when it was like black and white on all the news. It said there was a tornado that lasted 50 years. We have enough research to claim that it was real.
Clickbait.
Boy, they didn't even have microphones, boy.
Even still, it's probably fake. Everybody has lied since that.
If a tornado had lasted 50 years, it would be in our history books and we would know about it.
Yes, but and it's not. But it's not in our history books, meaning it's fake.
Tornadoes cannot last that long.
Well, then
Not
the Bible
there's no
was
tornado
wrong.
that has lasted even 6 hours long.
Well, then the Bible was wrong.
The Bible doesn't talk about a tornado.
Is there a tornado that has lasted for 5 hours? Let's see. I honestly wonder though.
Yay, I'm not clickbait. Yum, yum.
No, there's no verified single tornado that lasted for 5 hours.
They were probably listening. They were probably just listening to music while tornadoes go on.
Guess what happened on May 31st, 2013?
Everybody died by a tornado at the end of the story.
Nope, it was El Reno 2013, which was the most biggest tornado ever. But since it hit mostly fields, it was only an EF3. But if it hit a city, it would be an EF5 and one of the strongest EF5s ever. But since it hit mostly field, it was an EF3. Oh,
Hey,
I.
an EF5? It's
Oh.
an EF5.
Well, have you heard of El Reno 2013?
Say that slower.
El Reno 2013. Have you heard of that tornado?
That's a while back. Grandpa's memory ain't that good.
Then probably no. Then not.
I'm sure I heard of it because I was alive for it.
Yeah. It was the biggest. It was the widest tornado ever, being 2.6 miles wide, and it was only an EF. It was originally an EF5, but it got lowered to an EF3 because it hit mostly fields, and EF5s hit, and every EF5 has hit in mostly cities, and has hit in mostly cities because it does not matter on how big or how many or how high the wind speed is. It matters how much destruction it did. So because it hit mostly fields, it was lowered down to an
Come in here and
EF3,
get a Kleenex.
even though it was the biggest tornado ever.
Don't have to pretend like we're school teachers.
Listen.
Yeah,
Here.